Are you a leader and you're wondering how to stand out in today's noisy world? You're feeling unsure about putting yourself out there or building your personal brand? Well, my name is Lisa Hugo, and in this episode of the Impact Through Voice podcast, I'm going to show you why showing up as the voice of your personal brand in 2025 is more important than ever before, and how you can unleash your voice and your confidence to inspire millions, just like the likes of Jeff Bezos, Michelle Obama, Richard Branson, and so many inspiring leaders have done and continue to do. So if you are ready to stand out and lead and make your impact, then this episode is for you. Hey, I'm Lisa Hugo, and I am obsessed with helping other people find their voices so they can go out and take on the world, be seen as an authority, an expert, and grow their business by sharing that knowledge and expertise with others. Now, I studied performing arts, and I spent 20 years of my career traveling the world as a professional singer-songwriter. I teach you the secrets to speak up and be heard, overcome your fears, and then use these skills to build a business and a life that you love and that could change both your own life and the lives of others. This is your one-stop shop for all things that are going to help you to build a life on your terms. This is Impact Through Voice. Gone are the days when leaders could sit behind their screens and let their company's brand do all of the talking. In today's world, people want to connect with the person who's behind the title. They want to know who you are. They want to know what you stand for and why they should trust you. So if you're a CEO, a leader, or an aspiring one, or an entrepreneur, then really this episode is for you. We're going to explore why personal branding is essential for leaders, how it can elevate your career and your organization. And we're going to look at some inspiring examples of leaders who are doing it just right. So let's start with the big question. Why should leaders care about personal branding? Isn't it the company's brand which is enough? Well, in today's world, people don't just buy into companies, they buy into people. They want to know the values, the vision, and the personality of the person who is leading the organization. And a strong personal brand then builds trust, credibility, and connection. I mean, if you think about it, when a CEO or a leader steps into the spotlight, they're not just representing themselves, they're representing their entire organization. Their personal brand becomes an extension of the company's brand. And when it's done right, it can then inspire employees, it can attract customers, and it can even drive business growth. One of my favorite quotes that I heard this week comes from Mohammed Al-Hashimi. He is the head of the Union Co-op here in the UAE and probably in the Middle East. And he is recognized by the World Economic Forum as a young global leader and one of LinkedIn's top content creators of 2024. And in a recent interview with Reem Al-Houni, now she's also been a previous guest on my podcast, and this was at the Sharjah Entrepreneurial Festival, he said, "If you are not on the table, you're on the menu. I want to be on the table. I want any organization that I represent to be on the table." This is such a powerful statement because it highlights the importance of visibility. As a leader, if you're not actively shaping your narrative and building your brand, someone else is going to do it for you. And that might not be the story that you want to tell. So Mohammed Al-Hashimi is a fantastic example of a leader who is embracing his personal brand. He's using social media to inspire and connect with his audience. And in one of his recent Instagram posts I saw, he said, "Why settle for less than the stars? Work is not just a job, it's a passion, and it's an ongoing ambition for the best. Raise the ceiling of your dreams and reach for the stars with your team. Success begins with a dream, but the most important thing is to see it continue with determination." So this isn't just a motivational message. This is a glimpse into his mindset, his values, his leadership style. And by sharing his thoughts and his vision, he's not only building his personal brand, but he's also inspiring his team and his followers to aim for higher. So now let's talk about the star of this podcast, and that is your voice. I mean, it is the Impact Through Voice podcast. So how does your voice fit into your personal brand? Your voice is more than just a sound. It's a reflection of who you are. It's your personality, it's your confidence, it's your authenticity, and it's all rolled into one. And here's another very important point. Your voice is unique. No one else in the world has a voice exactly like yours. And people will remember you from the way you sound. Your voice is like your thumbprint. When you hear a voice that you've heard again and again, whether it's be on the radio, whether it's in the movies, on podcasts, on the news, you can put a name and a face to that voice immediately. When you get a call from a friend, a colleague, a family member who you know, you recognize their voice immediately. So your voice becomes iconic, memorable, and it's a huge part of your personal brand. But here's the catch. Your voice has been shaped by your life experiences, your environment, and even your habits. And sometimes those influences don't align with how you want to be perceived. But the good news is you can change that. Just like an actor can transform their voice to play a character, you can refine and hone your voice to align perfectly with your personal brand. Your voice is the bridge that connects you to your audience. It builds trust, it conveys authenticity, and it leaves a lasting impression. For example, if you're an entrepreneur and you're building your brand around eco-consciousness, then your tone might exude passion, care, a sense of responsibility. So what does that mean when it comes to your voice? Well, more melody to express the passion. Maybe slightly increased volume when you're really passionate about something, but then maybe a slightly lower pitch, which expresses then your care and the sense of responsibility. So in other words, you need to speak with a tone that reflects what you stand for so that your audiences can feel your emotion. So I want you to think about your own profession and outline how you want to be perceived by your audience, by your colleagues, by your boss, when you're speaking in interviews, on camera, in meetings, on stage. We can control the way we sound and how we want to be perceived. Our voice is a significant part of our personal brand. In fact, I would go so far as to say it's the most important part of our personal brand, and here's why. You can present yourself immaculately, visually, in the way you dress, through your website, your hair, your makeup, on your social channels. But if when you open your mouth to speak, your voice doesn't represent the image that you have crafted visually, there's going to be a disconnect. And you know which one's going to be the most memorable? Visual or audible? Your sound will overpower your image. And that means if you haven't already worked on your voice in your personal brand, get started today. It is never too late. Start by recording yourself. Get clear on who your audience is and what your audience would need to feel in order to connect with you. What elements of voice would you need to have to connect and to create a feeling, to build trust, to build confidence, to build that authenticity? It's really hard to assess your own speaking because your ears are used to your own sound. And unless you've been trained in performance, in acting, and singing, it can be really hard to know what you need to change and how to make those changes in order to connect with your audience. Get feedback from other people. Try using a sound that at first it doesn't feel comfortable. Get a coach, just like me, who can help you to refine your voice. Remember, it's all about self-awareness, aligning with your brand, and mastering what I call the 5 elements of voice. That's your pitch, your pace, your melody, your volume, and your tonality. I want to take a moment to introduce you to my new book, Voice of Influence, Speak Like a Leader, Lead Like a Visionary. You see, you can have all the expertise in the world, be credible on paper, your expertise, your credibility got you in the door and got you to where you are in your career today. But now, going forward, it's not just about having that expertise anymore. It's about being able to show up as a leader, to inspire, to motivate, to communicate. Because if you can't communicate all of your expertise and your knowledge and lead people and inspire people, then you may as well stay exactly where you are. Going forward as a leader, communication is everything. That's why I wrote this book, Voice of Influence, Speak Like a Leader, Lead Like a Visionary. In this book, I take you on a journey to understand all of the tools that you're going to need to show up as your voice of influence. So if you would like to get a copy of this book, all you need to do is go to the show notes at lisahugo.com/57. That's the number of this episode. You can go and get your copy of this book for just $17. That's the cost of a few coffees in a week, and it could be transformational for your career and even for your life. All right, let's get back to the episode. Let's look at some leaders who have built incredible personal brands, and they've used them to elevate their business and to inspire others. The first one that comes to mind is Jeff Bezos. He's the founder of Amazon. We all know that, surely. He has built Amazon into one of the most successful companies in the world, but his personal brand as a visionary leader has been just as impactful. He is focused on customer obsession, on innovation, on long-term thinking, has really become synonymous with his name. And the next one that comes to mind is Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin Group. Now, Richard's personal brand, it's all about adventure, having fun, breaking the mold. He's approachable, he's daring, his personality has made him one of the most recognizable and beloved entrepreneurs in the world. Now, let's find a female that we can use as an example. And I'm thinking of Sheryl Sandberg, who is the CEO of Meta, what used to be Facebook. Sheryl Sandberg's personal brand is built all around empowerment and leadership. And she's written a book called Lean In. Plus, she's out there in public speaking, and she's inspired millions of women to take charge of their careers and their lives through her book, her public speaking, and her example that, she represents. Okay, let's move on to another woman who I absolutely find inspirational, and that is Michelle Obama. Her personal brand is a masterclass in authenticity, in grace, in composure, in purpose. And through her book, Becoming, and her public appearances, she has built a brand that, let's say, it transcends politics and it inspires people all around the world. She's most definitely inspired me. All right, another one that you may not recognize or be familiar with, and that is somebody who I follow and I find very inspiring, and that is Simon Squibb. He's an entrepreneur and he's an investor. Simon Squibb has built his personal brand around helping other people to succeed. And he uses his social media presence and his public speaking to share his journey and his insights so that he can inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs. Okay, so how can you, as a leader, start building your personal brand? Well, I've got some actionable steps for you. The first one is define your values and your vision. Start by asking yourself, what do I stand for? What's my vision for the future? Your personal brand should reflect your own core values and the impact that you want to make. Now, number 2 is you need to leverage social media. Social media is a powerful tool for building your personal brand. Now, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we didn't have this accessible to us, but now The world is our own oyster to be able to grow our personal brand, to build our businesses, to do basically anything that we want, because we can be out there and visible in front of whoever we want to be visible in front of. We have the power now. It's given back to us instead of being in the hands of other people. So go on social media, share your insights, celebrate your team's achievements, engage with your audience. Use platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, so you can connect with your audience. You can connect either locally or globally, whatever is right for you, and you can inspire conversations and go deeper with your audiences. Okay, point number 3 is you need to show up on camera. If you're not visible, you're invisible. And video is one of the most engaging ways to connect with your audience. Now, I said earlier, people buy from people. When you show up authentically and honestly, you're going to grow a following of people who really appreciate you and what you have to offer. It doesn't matter if you're doing it in a recorded video, if it's a live stream, if you're going on to a webinar, giving a presentation virtually, showing up on camera allows people to see you, to hear you, to make your brand relatable and authentic and connected. Okay, point number 4, use your voice. As we always say on this podcast, your voice is one of your most powerful tools. Whether you're speaking at an event, recording a video, hosting a podcast, the way you communicate can make or break your personal brand. So use your voice, understand your voice, get to know your voice, and be able to play with your voice. And if that means get a coach, get help to be able to tune your ears and tune your instrument, then do it. Okay, point number 5, be consistent. Consistency really is crucial. Your personal brand should align with your actions, with your communication, and with your overall presence. And over time, this consistency then builds trust and credibility. It takes time to grow this organically, and that time is so incredibly well spent in the long term. Okay, my last point is point number 6, and that is the impact of a strong personal brand. When leaders embrace their personal brand, the impact is so profound. It inspires employees, it attracts customers, it builds trust with stakeholders. It also positions you as a thought leader in your industry, opening doors to new opportunities. But perhaps even more important, a strong personal brand allows you to lead with purpose. It's not just about being visible. It's about being memorable, about being unforgettable. Okay, before I wrap up this podcast session, I want to share just a few more examples of leaders who are leveraging their personal brand to make an impact, and leaders who I am inspired by, as I've mentioned with the ones that I've shared already. I want to highlight Satya Nadella, and I highlight him also in my book, Voice of Influence. He's the CEO of Microsoft. Satya Nadella has defined what it means to be a modern CEO. His personal brand is built all around empathy, innovation, and a growth mindset. He has written a book called Hit Refresh. He is out speaking in public appearances, and he shares his vision for Microsoft and his belief in empowering people to achieve more. His authenticity, his humility have not only strengthened his personal brand, but also transformed Microsoft's culture. Okay. Another inspiring female is Mary Barra, and she is the CEO of General Motors. Mary is another great example. She's known for her transparent thinking, her forward thinking, and her leadership style. She openly discusses her vision for the future of electric vehicles, and she's committed to sustainability. So she's positioned herself as a leader who is not afraid to take bold steps, bold leaps. And her personal brand aligns perfectly with General Motors' mission, making her a powerful ambassador for the company. And the last one I want to highlight is Simon Sinek. Now, if you haven't read his book, you really should. He is a leadership expert. He's an author. And while he's not a CEO of a company, he is a leader in his own right. So his entire personal brand is built around his ability to inspire others to find their why. So through his books, his talks, his social media presences, he has created a brand that is synonymous with leadership, purpose, and inspiration. So as I wrap up today's episode, I really want to leave you with a challenge. I want you to start thinking about how you can use your voice to build your personal brand. Now, I know this can feel really daunting, and I fully understand it. Putting yourself out there on social media in the public eye can really feel very uncomfortable. And you might be asking yourself, what do I have to offer, Lisa? Or you might be thinking, I'm not comfortable being here in the spotlight. What will people think of me? Well, these are completely normal fears. And you're definitely not alone when you feel this way. But the truth of the matter is, if you want to set yourself apart from the rest, if you want to lead with impact, if you want to inspire others, you need to start embracing this. Personal branding isn't optional anymore. It is the new way forward. So here's a practical step to get you started. Create a new channel specifically for your personal brand. This could be a LinkedIn profile, it could be a professional Instagram account, or a YouTube channel. Keep it separate from your personal accounts where you're connected with your friends and your family so that you can focus entirely on building your professional presence. And then let's say you decide to use your existing channel, you can do that. That's absolutely fine. But let your audience know. Let them know that going forward, I'm going to be sharing more about my personal brand, my values, and my vision. So I really hope that you're going to join me on this journey. The key is to take that first step, to start small, but keep the momentum going. Share a post about your leadership philosophy, a lesson that you've learned, or a simple introduction about who you are and what you stand for. And then over time, you'll find your voice and you'll start to see the impact that you can make. You'll start to feel that impact. Remember, your voice is your most powerful tool. It's how you connect, inspire, and lead. And the world needs to hear what you have to say. So what's stopping you? Take that first step. Start building your personal brand and watch how it transforms not just your career, but your confidence and your ability to make a difference. All right, if you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the Impact Through Voice podcast. Share this episode with somebody who might need a little bit of a nudge to start their personal branding journey. And if you're ready to refine your voice and your craft and your message, please reach out. I would love to help you. Okay, until next time, remember, your voice is uniquely yours. Use it to lead, to inspire, to make an impact.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Impact Through Voice podcast. Now, if you've reached the end of this episode, then it means you're enjoying the podcast. So I have a quick favor to ask. If you haven't yet subscribed, please go and do it now and even leave us a review because it really does help us so much to reach more people and impact more people. And I would be very, very grateful. Now, I love to read all of your comments about the show and what you're enjoying, what you would like to hear hear more of. So please take the time and go and do that now. When you do that, please take a screenshot and then tag me on Facebook or Instagram. That's Lisa Hugo Official. I'm going to be sure to share your post, and I'm also going to private DM you with a thank you. And it also means you won't miss an episode. And as a subscriber, then you're going to get access to more content that we don't even open up to everybody. So thanks again. And until next time, keep on working towards your goals and making a positive impact on the world with your voice.